Hey there, macro folks. This is Mr. Hooker. Here we are for unemployment and inflation, video number 2, chapter 8. So let's get to it. I would like to tell you that unemployment was even across groups, but it ain't. Minorities and women have a rough time with it. It's kind of weird. I say what minorities and women. Women are actually unemployed less than men um, in recent years. The pay for women is worse, but women have a lower unemployment rate than men. And there has been people acting funny about that. Like that's been true now for about 2 or 3 years. And a lot of media outlets have picked up this thing just recently this year. And I think I put this out for y'all. I'm not sure I did for my in-person classes. Like if you want some interesting takes on economics, check out Monday Morning Economist and Decode Econ. Um, they have some interesting stuff. Both of the guys that do those are friends of mine, but they do it. Don't do the paid subscription. I pay enough for everybody. But that's one of them had the thing where media had picked it up. Um, young men 18 to 25, their unemployment rate was starting to trend upward, and some media outlet picked it up, and I'm like, yeah, that's not exactly new. So it's up. It had been up, and it stayed up, and so young men are just in that point right now where people are starting to notice, like even with college degrees, they ain't getting hired. Don't know what that is. Don't know what's going on. Women, just fine. So and it was really weird because they were saying young white men. And I don't know why that mattered because it don't matter what race you are. If you're 18 to 25 and male, yeah, prospects of getting hired or prospects of getting a job right now are not pretty. So here we go. Overall, 2000, 2010, and 2023, it went 4.1, 9.8 in 2010, which is right at the end of the financial crisis. 2023 was 3.6. So that 2010 one's going to look ugly for everybody. Don't worry. 8.1 then for blacks, 8.1, 16.1. It's up 5.7. White teenagers 12.4, 22.9, 9.5. Teenagers always have high unemployment rates. Doesn't really matter. Um, then for black teenagers, 24.1, 42.6, 20.4. Um, And then during every recession, unemployment also rises. So you have three types of unemployment. You have frictional, structural, and cyclical. One of those is cyclical. It's tied to increases. I mean, it's tied to recession. Basically, as the business cycle trends down, unemployment trends up. Firms basically are cutting back. One of the things they cut back on are people. Um, During economic expansion, the unemployment rate usually falls. Not always. 1991 and 2001, those are examples. So, and there's some stuff to that one too. Um, 2001, that was tech. So basically, 91 was tech. So, or 91 was the beginning of tech. So 91 was the beginning of the internet. Um, the beginning of the expansion for internet. 2001 was tech boom. So when it revolves around tech, it's really basically capital replacing people. Um, and that's why you don't get those things coming back. You don't get people coming back. So there's generally strong negative relationships between growth and unemployment. Um, so this is a whole thing. Um, so in the short run, there's a negative relationship between unemployment and inflation, uh, which is another thing for growth. But in the general, the unemployment rate fell when growth was above its average at 3.11 um, a year, and rose when growth was below average. So here we go. In fast economic growth reduces the unemployment rate. How long can it go? You can't go fast forever. Forever. At some point, you have to slow down, and then there's what we call a catch-up line. So those countries or economies that are behind will grow at a faster rate and eventually catch up to the ones that are growing slower. Over the past 50 years, national unemployment rates never dropped below 2.9. Even in the best of times, you know, jobs are being created and destroyed. So we call that creative destruction. So Joseph Schumpeter came up with this idea. Basically, you have what we call serial entrepreneurs. They come, they look at an economy, and they see what's going on, and they're like, hey, I got an idea. This is going to be awesome. So they go to their people that finance them, and they say, hey, y'all want to make some money? Oh, yeah, everybody wants to make money now, right? So come back, they start a business, and that business will disrupt the economy, put other people out of business. Those people go away. They go off. They may go off to Cancun. They rest. They rejuvenate. They whatever. They come back. They come back charged, and they're looking. They're looking to make some more money. So they look at the economy. They take that broad look at what's going on, and they go, "Hey, let's make some money." So they come in. They disrupt. They start a new business, and that disrupts, and that puts other people out of business, and those people will go away. They go off to Fiji or wherever the heck they go. They rest, they relax, they recharge, and they come back and they do the same. And this goes on and on. So basically, you had this over and over all the time. Basically, electricity disrupted and put out of business the people making gas lamps. Automobiles put out the horse and carriage. You know, CDs put out cassettes. DVDs or streaming put out DVDs. Um, Smartphones put out a boatload of people. Let's just be honest how that works, right? So that happens. So there's three types of unemployment: frictional, structural, and cyclical. Let's look at them. So frictional, it's unemployment due to the time the workers spend in job search. So more efficient job search solves this problem. Unless you have a job now while you're in school or right when you get out of school, you will be frictionally unemployed. So it's just matching people to jobs. So anything that if you're just in between jobs, that's the thing. Um, it ain't a thing. It ain't a big deal. We just assume that you have skills, especially as college students. So college graduates are a big portion of frictional unemployment. The summer they graduate, we assume they get it by the fall. But it is that thing. A lot of them just take the summer off and don't even look for a job during the summer. They'll be like, "Yeah, I'm going to go to the beach, have fun." Right? I mean, I grew up near the beach, and the number of college kids that just go to the beach during the summer while they're, yeah, I just graduated. I'm going to kind of work, but not really work. I just want to relax before I have to work for the rest of my life. That kind of thing. And it happens just so often. It happens so often. But it is what it is. It's fun. Um, but that's frictional unemployment. But the idea is that you have skills. So your skills are going to get you that job. So, you know, even in low employment months, workers move in and out of both employment and unemployment. So, employed move to not in the labor force, employed move to unemployed, some employed move to not in the labor force. Some of the people not in the labor force move to unemployed. Some of the not in the labor force move straight to employed. It's really weird. They move all over the place. Um, so from the unemployed, there's this crazy thing about that. Some have been unemployed less than 5 weeks. That's 38% of them. 5 to 14 is 30.8%. 15 to 26 weeks is 13.4. And then 27 weeks and longer is just over 17%. Um, So the short duration there, this was February 23. It says most of it's, you know, frictional. That 27 week and over is the thing. So like most of that, if you look at it, most of it's under 14 weeks. So that's 68 point, that's actually like 69% is actually going to be 14 weeks and under. Uh, so kind of interesting. Structural, there's a problem there, right? With structural unemployment, what we have is a slight issue. I've got a mismatch between workers and worker skills and job needs. So, uh, more workers with a particular skill than there are jobs for that skill. Uh, Also, maybe more workers in a region than there are jobs in that region. People are not as mobile as economists have given them credit for over the years. People are like, hey, my grandfather lives here, my uncles live here, my cousins live here, I live here, and I ain't moving. And that's a thing. Um, I've lost I can't think of the name of the guy who finally wrote the paper on that. He wrote the paper on that probably 20 years ago now. Not even 20 years ago, probably 10, 15 years ago. But he finally wrote about it. And it was about a town up in Minnesota. Uh, but that's just more people seeking jobs in a particular market than there are jobs available at the wage, uh, even if they're at the peak of their cycle. So if the wage rate's persistently above equilibrium, there's some things that can happen to it, you know, that can lead to that wage in excess. Minimum wages, unions, efficiency wages, government policies, mismatches between employees and employers. So there's things that lead to that causes this problem. So the minimum wage, government mandated price floor, and we've only got that minimum wage at 7.25. I don't know that it's really effective. I don't know how many people actually get paid the minimum wage. I believe it's probably not truly effective anymore. It just creates minimum wages, if effective, create a surplus of workers. So there's a surplus of supply. Unions are associations of workers that bargain collectively with employers over wages, benefits, and conditions. Some act to increase wages simply by restricting entry into the profession with licensing requirements. And some make it hard to hire full-time workers. It's really weird. The licensing requirements thing had a whole thing on that in one of my texts. It was really weird. Like some of those I kind of get, like massage therapists, EMTs, some of these healthcare workers, I fully get. There are licensing requirements, ladies and gentlemen, for travel agents, for florists, for interior designers. Anybody want to explain to me why those people require a license, an occupational license? I'd be more than happy to listen because I just don't get it. Like anybody the child care one, working with my kids, yeah, I want you to have a license. If you're going to be messing with muscles in my body, I want you to have a license. If you're going to put anything in my body, I want you to have a license. But flowers, you're going to do something that I can check on Google Maps. Yeah, I don't really care. That's just really weird to me. Efficiency wages, wages that employers set above the equilibrium wage, as an incentive to workers to perform better. Costco did this. Then they failed at it because they forgot to keep it up. Wages change over time. So if you don't keep the efficiency wage up, you fall back to market wage. And then they set it back to right. So they would elicit more work effort by paying above market because where else are you going to find job pays as well? So the folks getting it are more likely to work harder to ensure they aren't fired. That's kind of the theory behind it. Government policy problems. The benefits to laid off workers reduce workers' incentive to quickly find new jobs. This was a problem in Europe. Generous unemployment benefits in European countries contribute to what they call eurosclerosis. which was persistent high unemployment. So they had some problems over there with that. The mismatch to employees and employers, workers and firms adjust to shifts in the economy. It results in that mismatch between what employees have to offer and what employers are looking for. We can have a skills mismatch or a geographic mismatch. So things happen. The Detroit automakers actually offered to send all of their people back to school because of a problem like this. Like, hey, we're going to robotize a section of the line. None of you are going to have a job. We'll send you back for job retraining. So if it's a skills mismatch, really the only way to fix it is job retraining. Geographic, you're just going to have to move at some point, right? There's nothing I can do for you. All right, we'll do this practice question, then we'll quit. Jasmine recently moved to Florida because she loves the warm climate. Being new, she'll need to spend a few weeks looking for a new job. That is frictional. All right, we'll call that good. See you in video 3.